This reporter places the blame for all of this squarely on you, the viewers.
Would you say we'd be venturing into a zone of danger?
It doesn't matter what you think! They think you're
You're listening to the Our Take Podcast with Brian Sherman.
He had a full head, all the way till the end. It was white, and I was hoping to get that. I was hoping to get, the full head, and it was really hard to cut it off.
And Spencer Rogers.
To be a good pilot, you have to be able to make good decisions, and I know what my credit score is, so I know I don't make good decisions.
This is the Our Take Podcast.
From Scary Paramedia Studios in Ogden, Utah, it is episode 30. I'm Brian.
I am Spencer. The podcast is getting close to my age.
Yes, very close.
Actually, no, it surpassed it when we did episode 25.
Right.
That was, yeah.
Yeah, 23 for me.
Yeah. So,
it is January the 18th. On this day in history in 1943, insurgents in the Warsaw Ghetto took up arms against German oppressors. It was known as the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising, the largest single revolt by Jews during World War II.
I don't know why that sounds funny. Jews and ghetto, that's not something that normally goes together a lot. But
the Germans made a ghetto.
Yeah.
So
I've been playing Call of Duty World War II a lot.
Do you get to go into the ghetto? Like the ghetto? You know what the ghetto is, right? In Warsaw? Oh, man.
I guess not.
So when they were rounding up all the Jews in Poland, which is the first country they invaded.
Right.
Huge concentration of Jews in Poland at the time. Not
Right.
anymore.
Right.
It was like 90% Jewish before World War II. Now it's like 10%.
Oh.
Anyway, they put everybody in like a few square blocks and put walls up.
Oh, okay.
And that was the Warsaw Ghetto.
Ugh.
And so they were rationing food. They were starving. Yeah, it was awful.
Interesting.
That was before they started like putting them on trains and sending them to camps.
Right.
So,
but as a result of me playing this, I get into my, every 4 or 5 year reading about World War II and watching documentaries and such. And
you should find one about the Warsaw Ghetto. There's some crazy stories in there.
I'm sure. I watched one the other day about D-Day. It was, I think it was Nova again. And they were using submarines and stuff to go under and find boats and tanks and stuff that had.
Oh, they were like modern day submarines.
Yeah, they
cool.
were talking. Well, yeah, they talked about how people went in early the day before.
Yeah,
and got rid of mines and had submarines that you could only see landmarks in.
Yeah.
To navigate. But anyway, what I found interesting that I didn't know is that there was a decoy invasion.
That makes sense. That sounds like something Churchill would do.
Actually, it wasn't.
Was it Patton?
It was us, yeah.
Oh.
And they made a bunch of fake tanks.
Oh, I did hear about that.
I didn't know, and it showed video of these guys just rolling. They look real at first, and then he just pushes it over.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, I think they even, when they were bombing London, I think that the British set up fake tanks and stuff that way, too.
Oh, really?
I mean, Hitler was convinced, and the generals were convinced that they were going to invade on land closer to England, just across the channel.
But that's why, because they had set up all these fake tanks elsewhere. Right. So when they attacked Normandy, they were ready. I mean,
they were ready.
They were ready-ish.
Yeah, they had way more artillery on that north side, though.
Yeah,
and
apparently, the English troops just kind of walked onto Normandy. No. So
did you hear? So did you learn about that naval? Was it an admiral or a captain that just basically because some stuff went wrong on D-Day?
Yeah, it did.
Like the Navy was supposed to blast the beach before the whatever the suicide boats arrived. You know what I mean?
Right.
And they missed their deadline and like they didn't know the targets, and so one admiral was like, just shoot that direction.
Right. What I did see, I don't remember. Well, I do remember something about that, but I do the Americans. The problem was getting all the tanks on.
Right.
And the English went rather, I can't remember what they did, but they did something completely different than what we did.
Yeah.
We used like these inflatable things around the tanks, and we tried to turn
like
them
a buoy
into
system?
boats. Yeah. And we lost
It didn't
they
work.
just sank.
Yeah.
A ton of them. And so that was why there was supposed to be way more protection for the troops, as
Right.
they were storming the beach.
Right, because you could walk behind the tank.
Right.
So
that was one of the reasons the casualties were so high.
Man.
But, I mean, and what was it I was watching? What was it? They were interviewing German soldiers who were there.
Yeah.
What was it I was watching? I'm sure because that was just like yesterday. And he said that he was there at Normandy, and he said when he woke up and looked out and saw all the boats and all the troops coming, he said to himself, "Oh, we lost the war.
We've lost." Yeah.
And so it's interesting because you got to imagine a lot of those soldiers were forced. They were Polish people forced to be soldiers, and they had a. It was an animated history thing on YouTube that I was watching. It was really interesting.
Yeah.
They had a mandatory military they had to serve in. So, it's not like it wasn't all, well, not that we were all volunteer at that point either, but we were, it seemed like more people. It was after I watched Band of Brothers the first time, I was such a weird feeling because I was like, oh, I want to help. And like, even though the war, it's long gone, it's like,
there is
like I want to help, but
there is a giant social psych theory that like you're the product of your time, and so people who wouldn't necessarily volunteer today, or like in the 90s before wartime, and they think about it now and they're like, no way would I have volunteered.
Right.
But then that generation all volunteered. They were lying about their age, and it's kind of like, it's weird to compare men and think like, were they really better or were they just like kind of a product of their time?
Yeah.
It's really interesting to think about because I can't, it's hard for me to think and like, would I do that?
Well, I think that you have to think about what we were like. We haven't faced anything like that since.
No,
not even close.
Not a real threat to our freedom.
I mean, we came pretty close with Russia, but nothing like that. And so you'd have to think if we were in that kind of a situation where someone was actually trying to
take over the
world essentially, and they were killing people left and right, it would probably be a lot different than.
And all of our allies were losing.
Right. It'd probably be quite a bit different than now. Not taking away from anything from our soldiers now.
No.
I mean, after 9/11, enrollment skyrocketed.
And I should take back what I said about our freedom being threatened, because 9/11 definitely did, the way that Pearl Harbor did.
Right.
We didn't know what was coming next.
Right.
And we still don't. Frankly, this is a totally new.
It's different. Yeah.
Yeah, it's totally different type of war.
We've never. I mean, there's Vietnam, which, I mean, but we were never in really here. I mean, stateside. We were never attacked here.
Yeah, Korea and Vietnam. By the way, Korea gets downplayed for some reason.
My grandpa was in Korea, and he had some pretty gnarly stories.
The casualties on the American side were about the same.
Yeah.
That's like 55,000 in both.
Yeah.
And both of those wars, though, we had a perceived threat to democracy because of communism.
Right.
They weren't actual threats, as history judges it.
Right.
But yeah, we shouldn't have treated those soldiers so poorly when they came home.
No.
Like we did,
Right.
I would say we, I mean, some of the American people did.
Right.
But
I mean, World War II is just so,
You know what I got sucked into after I watched all the World War II docs?
What?
I watched a bunch of World War I.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm not as interested in World War I.
It seems more boring, but it's not. Like, you start learning about these trenches and tunnels, and oh my gosh. Did I ever tell you about the tunnels? The Allies, they dug, so there obviously this is trench warfare, right? So there's like the what's it called? The no man's land.
Oh, yeah.
That's like no zone. No man's land. You know what I mean? Right. So they coordinated this effort. Wasn't really radios back then, so they synced their watches. But they dug these tunnels for months and months.
Right.
And laid it with explosives. But they actually got under the Germans.
Oh.
And it took them forever to plan. But they synced their watches and detonated at the same time across this huge place, miles and miles.
Right.
Like, the explosion could be heard in like London.
Right.
You know? And it scared the hell out of the Germans. They ran away because this huge explosion happened. Anyway, you start watching that and you learn about when they first got tanks and they had to put like bundles of sticks down so they could get over.
I don't know if it's maybe that World War II is just a tad bit more relatable because they were closer to us technologically than World War One.
Yeah, I mean World War One was maybe like first planes where they were like shooting with their hand.
Yeah, maybe that's why I don't get as interested in World War One. Although World War II is just.
But I mean,
I don't know.
In between, 12 million. Innocent people died in World War II. So, but and the technology had advanced so far in terms of just like video and photography. I know. And, so
it's kind of crazy when you look at World War I airplanes versus World War II.
Oh my gosh!
It's kind of how fast technology.
It's nuts.
It's nuts. Anyway, wow. That wasn't even in the. We just wow.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about the ghetto in Warsaw.
In the ghetto.
Learn about Warsaw ghetto, people.
Speaking of,
we need to because people are freaking denying the Holocaust and it makes me sick. Yeah. So learn about the Warsaw ghetto. Yeah. Speaking of ghetto, Chicago.
Yeah.
Few years ago, Laquan McDonald was gunned down by a police officer. Okay. Have you ever seen this video?
I don't know. Yes, I think
it's horrible. I mean, it's a dash cam.
Yeah.
And this cop, Jason Van Dyke, shoots this young man, like 16 times.
Jeez, that's a whole clip.
Yeah. And if you watch it, you're like, why did he do that?
Aren't they trained to unload their clip?
I don't know. I think it depends on the force. I've heard that, yes. But I've also heard you just shoot to stop the threat.
Right.
So, I mean, you watch the video and he's on the ground and it's not like it's like it's pretty awful. Anyway, that is the point. So he was convicted of second-degree murder and 16 counts of aggravated assault back in October.
Okay.
He was sentenced today just on the second-degree murder charge. All right. What do you think a second-degree murder sentence should be?
Can I tell you? I don't. If I'm being honest, I don't actually know the difference between first and second degree.
Well, let's Google it real quick.
Do you know the difference?
First degree is like premeditated.
Right.
Second degree is not premeditated. That's the biggest difference.
Okay.
The biggest differentiator in murder cases is: did you think about this before? Are you evil enough to have thought up a plan to premeditate a murder? You know what I mean? Even if it's only minutes, or seconds. Like, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to go to my room and get my gun and shoot you. That's premeditated. A cop pulling his gun out of his holster and shooting isn't really premeditated. So that's probably why they dropped it down to second degree. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Also, I already know the answer. He got 7 years, right?
He got 6 years in a handful of months.
Okay.
81 months.
Right.
For murder. Like they're pot dealers.
Right.
In prison for life.
What? Do they have any reasoning as to why it was so light?
No. And the family's pretty upset. It gets even weirder, though. The prosecutor is a special prosecutor, John McMahon. He recommended that it should be a minimum of 18 years. The special prosecutor recommended a minimum of 18 years.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that he thinks that justice was served in a press conference. Now, there's a little bit more to the story. He hasn't been sentenced for the 18 or 16 counts of aggravated assault, which could be like a year each.
Right.
It's possible that the judge is taking that into account. It just seems really light to me.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, are they taking into account his service record or something? And
is it relevant? It's second-degree murder.
I guess not. I don't know.
We've talked about cops a lot, and
I have a really... Well, I don't have a hard time with these situations. It's just, I mean, him shooting him in the back, that's kind of where, if it wasn't in the back like that, then...
He was, so I think the first shot, I don't really want to watch the video again, frankly. I think the first shot he went down.
Right.
And I want to say he had a little knife, but he was walking away. So he was down on the first shot, and the following 15... he was on the ground. So, unless the cop reasonably thought he was going to pick up the knife and throw it at him, you know?
I don't know. I just get so torn on this kind of stuff because these guys, they deal with these situations every day, and they probably get burnt off and pissed off at this.
Right. Oh yeah. No.
You know what I mean?
We've talked about
yeah,
this.
I know, and
that I couldn't be one because I would probably beat the hell out of people.
Right. And so I don't know. I mean, he should definitely go to jail. Like, he should be held accountable. But
it just seems like 81 months, and I hate to use, like red herring logic and compare it to other crimes, but it just seems you kind of have to, right? And we know our justice system isn't perfect, but
right.
81 months compared to like, you commit burglary and you could get like 5 years for that,
My guess is that they went easy because of the situation. I mean,
and like I said, the judge might be like, "Well, you guys don't know. I'm going to give them a year each for the aggravated assault."
Right.
But
I mean,
anyway.
I don't know. I couldn't be a judge on this case. I wouldn't want to be in the jury either because I'm the kind of person who just. I don't know. I can see both sides, and
the video is like it's relatively vague.
Is it?
It's hard to jump to one side immediately, like because you see him walking away. He kind of turns around, and that's when he starts shooting. You know what I mean?
Right.
He definitely doesn't lurch though, and so the burden of proof then is on the officer, obviously saying. It's fine for you to say you perceived a threat,
right?
But you got to prove it. Prove it to me.
Well, I think the dash cam video is what is damning him.
Oh, if there was no dash cam video, this wouldn't have been a case.
So I have no idea what happened, but what is a possibility that happened is he shot him and then realized, crap, I need to make sure he's dead.
It's possible.
So he can't.
You should know that there were at least. Two in this picture, at least two other cops there.
Oh, really?
With guns trained on him that did not fire.
Oh.
So
that sucks, though. Can you what if? I mean, I don't know. I don't know anything about this guy's history, but what if he's just having like a bad day? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like everything's gone wrong for him. He's so
got
frustrated
in a fight with his wife or something.
Yeah, and he's been dealing with stupid domestic disputes all day.
It's true.
And then. It just sucks.
Well, and it comes down
to that. I don't know. It just sucks.
That comes down to personality profiling and training, right?
Yeah,
you should be training these guys and put them in high stress situations.
Right.
Piss them off.
Right.
Tell them, and it could all be a play. If you were this guy's sergeant or captain, piss him off. Tell him that you're thinking about transferring him. Tell him that you're that he's not getting his raise, and then go put him in a training simulation. And see how he responds.
Right.
That's the kind of stuff these guys, they need behavioral psychologists.
That's a good idea.
We got to think about how these guys could be on a day-to-day basis. You know? And to answer your question about the clips, I just went to Cora. This guy has been a deputy sheriff since 2000. Oh, he's also a private pilot.
Oh.
He said that we are not trained to unload an entire magazine. We are trained to fire continuously until that deadly threat is no longer a threat. So... it's very gray. That leaves a lot of gray. But I don't know how else you would write that.
Yeah,
But I do think that every department's different.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So,
well, speaking of breaking the law or cops and that sort of thing, I don't know if you've heard, but...
I'm Chris Hansen.
I have not heard about what's going on with Chris Hansen.
Chris Hansen.
You haven't heard?
Sit right there.
I'm Chris Hansen.
I haven't heard that one. Please don't tell me
To Catch a Predator host Chris Hansen has been charged with issuing bad checks and failing to pay thousands of dollars to a vendor for marketing materials. So the guy from the marketing company came up and was like,
why don't you have a seat?
Yeah.
Go ahead and take a seat.
I did wonder what happened to his... Was he on MSNBC? When this first aired? I did wonder why... Like, why was he removed as a correspondent? He started his own YouTube channel, Oh, I do see here he was evicted from his New York City apartment.
That was the second story. There's two different stories, and then the second one is he was been evicted for not paying his rent.
Catch a Predator host Chris Hansen's Kickstarter donors saw arrest coming. So he's been arrested?
Yeah.
Oh, his wife filed for divorce.
So
maybe it just got to him, man.
Apparently, Dateline, didn't really...
Dateline NBC, not MSNBC.
Oh, yeah.
Just regular NBC.
He didn't make enough money in there, and...
Let's take a seat right over there.
Right over there. Like, I mean, I watched some of the YouTube ones, and I wonder... He looks a little worn.
Yeah, looking at this picture here, he does not look good.
Yeah, he looks a little worn, and I mean, maybe catching predators and like looking at that shit all day just makes you sick after a while.
Maybe he's just a sleazebag to begin with, and no one realized it. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. These people, I don't know, man. Just reporters, Hollywood, people on TV, famous people in general. I mean,
who
just
still
don't know.
writes checks?
That, you know what? Out of all this, that's what I would definitely. I'd have to.
Take a seat right over there.
Why are you writing checks,
Chris?
Take a seat right over there.
Why do you still use a checkbook?
Like,
I mean,
and don't most places? I guess if you're writing a personal check, like most places do e-check. Well, I know my work does. Like it works like a debit, and we don't even take the check from it.
Yeah, Walmart does that. Smith's or Kroger wasn't doing that because
they'd rather just get the customer out of the line.
Well,
just go.
There's not enough checks to really warrant it.
Oh, because it costs money. Yeah,
right. You know what I mean? Like the amount they still get bounced checks, but not.
Yeah.
It's
man in high school before debit cards.
Yeah,
dude, I wrote checks for like $1.05 every day to get a Mountain Dew.
Serious?
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, how embarrassing!
I know. I was in high school.
I'm trying to think,
and there was no debit cards back then. Man,
I had my first bank account. I had a debit card. I don't remember how old I was.
I found out my ATM card could work as a debit card when I went to buy some shoes. I bought some shoes, and I said to the cashier, "Hang on, I got to run to the ATM, get some cash." She's like, "Oh, that'll work." I'm like, "It's just an ATM card. There's no numbers on it." You know what I mean? And she's like, "Just try it."
She's just like, "Well, hold on."
Yeah. So I did it. I'm like, "Wow, that worked. All right." So that's when I found out that this new thing called debit existed. No, I had $1.05 for a Mountain Dew here.
So I think I opened my first account
$2.12 for a couple
when
cheeseburgers.
I was 16 or 17.
Yeah.
It might have even been. Nah, it had to have been 17. And I got a debit card straight off. I had my picture on it from Bank of America. It even gave me a stupid little keychain one.
Yeah, maybe it was my bank that just didn't.
Oh, what bank was it?
It was Barnes.
Oh, yeah. That's why.
Now defunct.
So I was at a big national bank, and they were like, yeah, man, we're making it rain debit cards.
The FDIC took over Barnes Bank during the recession.
Wow.
Sold it to Zions.
Wow.
Anyway.
So,
that's too bad for Chris. He's a national treasure.
I actually, when I was looking for clips and stuff of him today, I got sucked into a.
Oh yeah, yeah.
those guys are just so stupid.
Just sleazeball, just dumb people.
What are you doing here? I'm just on my way to the beach. And they sitting there eating a cookie.
Sit down. They sit down. Dude. Did you see the one where he walks in and the girl playing the little girl? She's an actress. You know?
Yeah.
She's like, he had some food. And she's like, "Did you bring some for me?" He's like, "No, just for me." It's hilarious. He's
funny.
like, "I can go back to Burger King and get you something if you want."
Those guys, they're all like what you'd expect them to look like. It's just.
Yeah, it's.
Did you see the one where they caught him once and then the next day they caught him again at McDonald's?
Oh my gosh.
Oh man. So Elon Musk, your boy Elon, he had to pull some people into his office today
7%.
Right over there.
and tell them that and
he didn't do it.
Apparently he sent them a letter though.
Oh, that's nice of him.
Which I don't understand. I thought he wasn't doing things anymore. I thought he had relinquished CEO-ship.
No, he's the president, but not the chief executive for like 3 years or something like. He still has a vote. So he used to have 2 votes on the board. Now he only has 1.
Oh. Well, here's the headline out of Wired. Tesla cuts 3,000 jobs bracing for an uncertain future.
Well, see, the headline I read was the headline I read was they want to make the Model 3 cheaper for people.
Oh, yeah.
Frankly, I don't even know who works for Tesla. They're all made by robots.
That's not what this picture looks like. There's
like a whole YouTube video
men
of
there assembling them.
I don't know. Those are like they're putting hoods on conveyor belts, and then the robot picks them up. And
have you ever Googled Tesla bankrupt?
No, have you?
Oh yeah.
Did you write an article or something?
No, there's a ton of articles on how people think Tesla's going to go bankrupt.
I'm sure.
Apparently, they have $15 billion worth of debt coming up this year.
Well, he's worth $22 billion, so I think he'll be okay.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I don't know.
I should have placed money on
I don't know
this.
how they figure that.
What? The debt?
Yeah. Well, you could bet on the short.
15 billion.
Yeah. You just go bet on the short, but you're betting against Elon Musk, probably the smartest guy.
I don't know, man. Are you sure he's that smart, or does he just put on a show, make it seem like he's smart?
No, I think he's that smart.
I don't know.
You don't think he's the inventor of PayPal, the inventor of Tesla?
Oh, PayPal! Like that was such a hard thing. No one could have come up with that.
That's
except
not
for
the
him.
point. That's not the point. What have you invented? It's easy to look back at inventions and say, "Well, that wasn't hard to think of."
What did I invent?
Like just the other day, I saw these little like sleeves with wheels that go on your knee pads.
Nuts. Oh,
yeah, go on your nuts. Go on your knee pads so that when you're installing laminate or tile, you can roll around. So it's easy to be like, anybody could have invented that.
Wait.
So you're wearing knee pads. It's a little thing that slides over that has wheels on it.
Oh.
So you can wheel around rather than having to stand up.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
I'm going to have to add that to my knee pads.
And you're like, why didn't I think of that? That's so easy. Anybody could have done it. That's not the point. He did do it.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I don't know, man. Genius. We should.
Here, let's look. Elon Musk IQ.
We should invite him onto the Our Take podcast and see how brilliant he really is.
It looks like he has an IQ of 250. I don't know what it says.
My IQ is 251, and I'm borderline autistic, so
it would make you there.
Although I think he might be too. So,
well, he has 6 kids.
Really?
1 deceased.
Yeah, so he's not that smart.
It's really not worked out for him. We'll see what he does. Maybe he doesn't care.
That's why I think Tesla's going to fail.
Because he doesn't care.
He doesn't care. He kind of has that cavalier.
That's true. I mean, he doesn't care. He just moves on to the next project,
right?
Like SpaceX, and then he'll let go of that. And
didn't SpaceX cut a bunch of jobs too?
Probably.
I thought
the economy. It's a bit of a hood over our eyes right now.
Yeah.
Like I thought the economy was doing relatively well. Posted on Facebook today. I don't know if you saw it. My retirement.
Oh yeah.
Over 2018.
The
whole year. Guess what my return was?
It was negative.
Negative 12%.
Yeah.
That's 24% lower than what it should be. It should be a 12% positive on a decent year.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're being fed this shit that the economy's great. I lost 12%.
Yeah.
On a retirement, and I don't invest like aggressively.
Right.
Like I'm in just kind of regular, a lot of bonds actually. And so I'm negative 12%. I lost money last year. In this year that's supposed to be great.
That's why my retirement is just winning the lottery. Don't invest.
Yeah.
Just wing it, and then when you get older, just
pissed me off.
Speaking of winning the lottery, did you see this story about the? You know what? I need to get some drop music, some music for wall chat.
What's wall chat?
Like everybody has, right? Wall crisis 2019.
Oh, the wall.
The government shut down. Blah, 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 blah. First of all, let me
by the way,
all this with saying that Trump's back and forth with... And
the government is still shut down, everybody.
Yeah, so the whole back and forth, it actually made me laugh a little bit.
You talking about the...
Trump's like, you can't use my planes, and Nancy's like, you can't come to our house.
It was the other way around.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. And it's just like, oh my gosh. Yeah. Now I hate both of you.
Yeah.
I hate both of you now, and...
Yeah, it's pretty petty. Yeah. Especially because, I mean, look, Nancy was wrong. It is the DC Metro Police, the Capitol Police, not the DC Metro, sorry, Capitol Police, who secure the State of the Union.
Oh, really?
They're not federal employees. No, the Secret Service, but they're not charged with, they're only charged with protecting the president and the vice president during that time.
Right.
And some leadership. Like, it's the Capitol Police who secure that building. So, She was wrong. Nancy.
Yeah, I don't. Do you like Nancy Pelosi?
I don't care.
Yeah.
I think
I would be okay with new leadership.
If you read if you read a short bio of her, she is pretty remarkable.
Right.
She's the first. I think she's only the second person to be the speaker, lose the speakership because of she's back in the minority, and then to get the speakership back.
Right.
Only the second person to do that. Probably the only woman. So she's pretty remarkable. In terms of her negotiating strategy right now, it's not there.
I'm over it. I'm ready to just move on. Someone needs to break and just give in, or just something needs to happen. Did you know that if this goes on, I think it's another week, it will have cost more than the wall.
Yeah. I met another person today at my job that her and her husband both work for the IRS.
Yeah, my mom has a friend. She was telling me today that
husband was forced to go back without pay.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Or he could lose his job that's not paying.
He could lose his enforced slavery.
You're like indentured. I don't understand this.
And that's what I'm looking for. My mom said that one of our family friends' husband works for, I can't remember, it was the IRS or something, and they had to tell their daughter that they had to postpone her birthday because they didn't have any money.
Gosh. It's horrible.
It's getting
ugly.
It's out of control, man.
Federal employees are doing GoFundMes and
I know,
it's bad.
The airport is giving TSA, our airport over here, the Salt Lake Airport,
giving like a bonus, right?
No, the vendors there are giving them free lunch and stuff like that. And apparently, the air traffic controllers have started gaining weight because of all the pizza crap they're getting. So they're actually they're not really needing any more pizza anymore. But
I know a bunch of companies are off, waiving late fees and stuff like that. I gotta. So let's come up with a solution, you and me, right now.
Real quick, I gotta say that I think Nancy Pelosi should have just not gone. I think to begin
Afghanistan.
With. Well,
no, the government shut down. You should stay here.
Why is anyone going anywhere?
Right.
Why aren't they just in there hashing it out every second of every day?
If you were to split the government's responsibilities into just two parts, really simply,
right?
It's not, but really simply, you have domestic policy and foreign policy.
Right.
Domestic is always the priority.
Right.
And if we're not in a shutdown and domestic policy is non-existent, then foreign policy waits.
Right.
Yeah.
The
soldiers know what they're doing.
And
they're getting paid.
Seeing as how the soldiers' affiliation typically leans pretty right, I doubt that any of them were really like, "Oh, woo, Nancy Pelosi." Right. Who cares? She shouldn't have gone in the first place. That should have all been canceled. Why they're not all in a room hashing this out all day, every day, is beyond me. Instead of sending these ridiculous, petty, "Don't come to my house,"
tweets,
"Don't use my airplanes," it's freaking absurd.
It is so petty and
elementary
childish.
School election bullcrap here. This is insane, and this is coming from two people in the middle of Utah who do not work for the government, who have zero pull. We're just sitting here saying this is ridiculous.
The shutdown is not affecting us personally, but we feel for our fellow Americans.
Yeah,
this is stupid, But okay, let's hash it out.
Okay,
he wants 5.7. Democrats don't want to give him anything if it's going towards a wall. And
before we hash it out,
okay,
I need to insert this into the mix. The largest single group, I don't know if you heard about this, the largest single group of asylum seekers to ever cross the U.S. tunneled beneath the border wall near San Luis, Arizona.
Yeah.
14 tunnels.
Yeah.
14.
It wasn't that hard. They had shovels.
I'm just saying.
And you should know that these people, whether or not, look, even all the news reports call them asylum seekers, and I feel like that gets washed over.
Right.
These people, some of them might be lying. I'm sure some of them are.
Right.
But some of them are telling the truth that they fear for their life. They're tunneling under the wall, and they're running toward border agents.
Right.
Because that's what you do.
Right.
Because that's the law right now.
Right.
As it stands, you can cross the border anywhere. You could cross it in Michigan, and find a border agent and say, "I'm seeking asylum."
Right.
And then they take you into detention for, the law is 20 days right now. You have to be released after 20 days if you're an asylum seeker, at which point you come back for your hearing.
Right.
There's no law about asylum seekers have to enter a port of entry. If you're an asylum seeker, the theory behind it is you're running for your life.
Right.
So just come in anywhere, man. Find an agent, tell them you're seeking asylum. We'll take you to a safe place.
Sanctuary. Like Quasimodo,
Yeah,
right?
we'll take you to a place. We'll write down your info. We'll find out where you are. You know, like I saw a video of a guy holding his daughter with paperwork that proved she was his.
Right.
You know, and I know there's a bunch of people on the right who are going to say he's lying and it's all fabricated because he's a terrorist. He's pretending to have this child, you know. But, yeah, they're tunneling. They just, I don't know.
Anyway, hashing it out.
Yeah, so here's what I'm down for.
Okay.
I just don't think the wall is going to work.
Well,
it doesn't work. So
this happened at a wall, which we know this is a wall by a city. Okay,
right,
this isn't a wall out in the middle of BFE.
Right. There's a reason we have footage of them.
Right,
because it's in the middle of a city.
Right.
Yeah. So I just don't think a wall is there. I'm fine with border agents because, frankly, if we have hundreds of thousands of people seeking asylum, then we need more agents.
Yeah.
So, and I just read an article earlier that for every border agent, the country ends up saving, it was a huge amount. It was like, I can't remember, it was like $5 million a year for every border agent we hire because they're stopping people and helping the flow of commerce.
Oh.
Right? So it makes sense. And especially the ones at the ports of entry. If we can get cars and trucks through there faster, then commerce is going to speed up.
Right.
So I'm down to spend I'm down to give you $10 billion if you're going to hire people to go down there to the legal ports of entry. Go ahead and spread them out across the non-legal ports of entry where we talked about last time. There's nothing really happening.
Yeah.
But go ahead, put them there. That's fine. That's better than a wall.
Yes.
Like, unless Congress changes the law that says we no longer accept asylum seekers, this is not going to stop. If they change the law and say we're no longer an asylum country, which would be horrific in my opinion, but let's say they did, then the border agents could literally say, push them back and say, no, you can't come in.
Right.
I don't care if your life's in danger, you can't come in.
Right.
So I'm down. Give him all the billions he wants, just not towards a wall. Do you think that he would do that?
It sounds like no. Like I don't.
People say border security.
He keeps saying border security.
Right.
So maybe
manpower is part of that. You know, just today on Facebook, a guy designed a wall. And he's like, "Here's my proposition." He's an engineer of some sort. It was a cool looking wall.
Right.
And I put it on my phone and I put it in photos and I drew a ladder. And then put a link to Amazon for the type of ladder you would need to climb over it. You know, my point is, and then someone commented like, yeah, they wouldn't see someone with a 40-foot ladder coming towards the wall. You're right, they wouldn't because there's not enough agents.
Because there's no one out there to see
There's
them
no
anyway.
one out there to see it. So I'm down. Put agents there. You wouldn't need a wall if there were agents every half mile.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
If you think that it's that big of a threat, understand a wall's not going to work. Send people down there. The flow of commerce gets faster, so our economy the GDP grows.
Right.
Because we're not stopping things so often. But we talked. That would be the proposal.
I mean, at this point, I don't.
If I was Nancy or Chuck, that's what I would do.
Well, yeah, I'd give $10 billion is still kind of a drop in the bucket.
Oh yeah,
like
I'll tell you what, Donald. You want 5.7? I'll double it. I'll give you 11.4. To in manpower.
That's what's kind of bugging me about the Democrats right now is they just seem to be like, no,
right?
Like both sides are being ridiculous,
and I don't think the general public realizes that there's two parts to border security.
Right?
There's wall and there's people.
Right.
The wall doesn't work. We saw it today. They find a way. They tunneled underneath it.
Right.
They dug 14 tunnels. How many? It was like 400 people.
It was a lot. I can't remember.
It was like 400, I think.
It said it was the biggest seeking asylum, at least.
Like in one shot. Like,
here's a picture of the tunnel. And this is the steel slatted wall. Just like, look at that. That's
it's not a tunnel.
It's not even a
It's not. It's a hole. Imagine you have a picket fence in your backyard, and your dog digs a hole underneath it. That's what it looks like. It literally probably took them 3 minutes with a shovel, depending on how hard the soil is there.
Which it's pretty sandy, so probably not very long.
They probably did it with their hands.
Oh man, that's embarrassing.
And
that's and look at the wall is even like 2 or 3 feet.
Yeah, it goes
below
down to
the surface, and it doesn't matter.
Right.
Unless they're planning to build it to the center of the earth.
I know he wants it like 20 feet deep or something like that, but that's not the point.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I just don't know how you'll ever stop people. A wall it makes no sense anymore.
Yeah.
Unless you're going to put a wall and a guy every 50 feet.
Right.
At some point you'll get this again where they rush a section of the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Go watch Lord of the Rings. And you'll see that a wall doesn't work. You know what I mean? So that's as a Democrat, fine. Like, I'm not even, I will not concede that a wall works. No. But I'll give you even more money to send more agents, create more jobs, grow our GDP, and this whole thing's done.
Yeah. What? Yeah. That
So that's my problem with Chuck and Nancy.
If Trump denied that, then
then you know that it's just about the spectacle.
It's like personal.
It's a symbol.
Like twice as much money, and
the wall
he just wants a Trump branded wall.
The wall is Trump's Statue of Liberty.
Yeah,
it's just a symbol. It's something he can take a picture of, put it on his campaign flyer for 2020. Right, like that. Now that's Chuck and Nancy. My problem with Turtle, Mitch
McConnell,
is his unwillingness to even take anything to a vote.
Yeah.
They shut down one today to open Homeland Security. The GOP in the Senate just shut it down to temporarily open, I think it was till the end of February. And they said no. Why?
I can't stand Mitch McConnell. I cannot stand that guy.
No, he's very misguided in his job.
Yeah.
His job is to get things through the Senate. Get as many bills to the president's desk as you can. If he likes it, he signs it. If he doesn't, he vetoes. If he vetoes, you can override.
Right.
That's your job as a legislator. Take laws that are kind of antiquated or new ones that we need, get them to the desk.
Do they not see this is... It just drives me nuts how much hypocrisy is in the Republican Party sometimes.
Yeah.
And how Mitch McConnell reporting to the president, it destroys democracy. Like it's not it makes Trump a dictator.
Right.
Like I'm not trying to blow this out and,
No.
But that's what that is. That's how it works.
When the Senate Majority Leader says, I'm not going to pass any bill that I know the president won't sign, you are no longer separating powers.
Right.
Two branches of the government are now together.
Right.
The pyramid has fallen.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, you cannot you can't do that. The separation of powers moves away if you are beholden to the other branch.
Right.
That's like saying, I'm not going to take this to the Supreme Court for the people because I know I'll lose. No, that's not the point.
Right.
It's a joke. Anyway,
I don't know.
That's our compromise. We'll give you $11.4 billion for people.
Yeah.
For manpower at the ports of entry.
Jobs.
Just go ahead and sprinkle a few in the desert.
Yeah.
That's fine. Catch one or two.
You know what? We'll give you 50 miles of wall. How about that?
Well, what's he going to get for $5.7 billion?
not
like 3 miles?
Yeah, it's not going to be a lot.
It's not a lot.
Not nearly as much as he thinks.
Not for the wall. Not for the type of... If you're going to put chain link... Yeah, maybe you'll get a couple 100 miles.
Yeah.
But not for the type of wall he wants.
Yeah, like a great impenetrable...
Yeah, he'll get...
Can you imagine what's in his mind? It's probably like this space age...
Oh my gosh.
Crazy futuristic laser wall with
he wants
giant...
a 30-foot steel wall that goes 20 feet into the ground. So 50 feet of steel and concrete.
Which he just raised prices on.
Right.
With his tariffs.
Unbelievable.
Oh, anyway.
Enough of the wall. Take a break.
Let's take a break. What is happening?
Ooh, you got a little double play.
I think I hit it twice. Anyway.
That was long.
Yeah. Yeah. When we come back, I do have some random headlines for us today. I don't remember what they are, but they're going to be great and random. And we'll talk about some other things and some stuff. And, yeah.
Hang on, CNN's on, where I'm the loudest guy on an overcrowded panel.
This country needs stronger border security.
Our border security is the strongest in the world.
What we need is to take care of our children.
I can't get an erection.
You think giving them amnesty is fair to the people who are already here?
They're contributing to the economy.
I've tried all the herbs.
Amnesty is never the answer.
It's not amnesty. It's recognizing their contributions to our country.
They said to meditate, but I keep falling asleep.
We need stronger vetting.
And to enforce the laws already on the books.
I'm terrified of being alone with my wife. It's too much pressure.
Well, nothing's ever going to change if Congress isn't willing to compromise.
Exactly my point.
A wall would solve this.
I wake up with an erection, but never when she's in the bed with me.
A wall would solve nothing.
These children have rights.
I spent $3,000 on a sandals vacation thinking that might do it. Know what it was? Me being limp on a lazy river.
Well, that's all the time we have. Thank you to Peter Griffin.
No, don't send me home to my wife. Democrats.
That's why we went to sandals?
We interrupt your regularly scheduled program to bring you these random headlines.
What do you got?
Feathers. Feathers are better than Velcro.
Okay. It's got to have something to do with NASA. Doesn't NASA own the patent on
No,
Velcro?
because NASA doesn't have any funding right now.
That's true. You know, I read something that if NASA actually earned money, because they're what? They're a company that's owned by the public, by the taxpayer.
Right.
Company, an organization.
Right.
So anything they invent is public domain.
Oh.
So they invented things like Velcro for like Apollo and stuff. If they had patented that and made money off of it, then NASA would be funded. And they've invented all sorts of stuff.
Why didn't they do that?
Because
memory foam is NASA, isn't it?
They can't legally, because they're a taxpayer-funded organization. Anything they invent.
Wow, that's interesting.
It sucks.
Yeah, that does kind of
anyway,
suck.
Go ahead.
This is it's from Science Daily. It's a study done at the University of California. You may have seen a kid play with a feather, or you may have played with one yourself, running a hand along a feather's barbs and watching as the feathers unzip and zip. Have you ever seen that before?
Oh, yeah.
So they're saying that it could be stronger and more better.
Wait, is this like how a spider's web is stronger than steel?
Right.
So how do you do that?
They said that they 3D printed structures that mimic feather veins.
Okay.
And so I'm not sure how if they made them like bigger or what, but
I don't know.
It was
when I was a kid, my mom would take me to the craft store with her. And I would ask always for the weirdest things. I think at one point I asked for a zipper, just to,
Right.
I asked for a dowel. I just wanted a dowel to play swords with.
Oh,
and
I used to do that.
At one point, I wanted a peacock feather. They had them just sitting in a tube.
Yeah.
At the craft store, I was like, I want a peacock feather.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Those do have the barbs.
I kind of want one now.
Do I have a peacock feather? I don't know. I have a whole bag full of feathers. If you really want one, we can
Spencer's birds. Spencer's birds.
We can examine them later.
You know what's a weird word?
What?
Peahen. Female. A female.
Peahen.
A female
peahen and her cock. Yeah, those are all.
That's good. All right,
so interesting.
They're saying that if they use feather-like technology, it'll be stronger than Velcro.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Will it have that tear sound?
No. Have you ever? I don't think so. It's I don't know.
But I mean, how is it going to hold together?
I don't. That's what's crazy about it. Yeah. It's like the spider web. That stuff's stronger than steel.
Why have we never commercialized spiders' webs?
I think that is a.
They spit it out.
I should have
combine it.
No, but there's research being done on it. The biggest problem is that they're trying to make synthetic because you'd never be able to get enough.
There are so many spiders. Yeah, so they're trying to synthesize it.
Yeah, and they've made a lot of headway. I think that they're looking at it for the military, of course.
Of course, yeah.
And
parachutes or something.
No,
bridges,
vests.
Oh, take away Kevlar
instead of Kevlar. Yeah,
that'd be cool.
Yeah,
probably lighter.
Yeah, crazy. That'd be pretty. I'll look into that. Maybe we could talk about it next time.
Oh my gosh, Luis was here and talked about Bodyguard, the show on Netflix.
Oh yeah,
Kevlar reminded me of it.
Oh.
He was dead on. I watched the first episode.
Uh-huh.
I had fingernail print marks in my palm because of the first 20 minutes of the first episode.
Really?
It is intense.
Oh, I'm gonna have to check it out.
Intense, yeah. Bodyguard on.
I think we
Netflix.
might be able to have him back next week. I just
yeah,
remembered.
he's gonna be back in town.
Or was that this week? I don't know. I can ask.
Yeah, it's good. Anyway,
my next story could be kind of obnoxious. Because
that's what we do here.
Yeah. Do you know this song?
It sounds like George Michael or something.
Come on.
It sounds like one of his beats. Oh, Africa. Everybody's up in arms about the Weezer version?
No.
Oh, you know they are, though.
Well, yeah. But because of that, the song has had a resurgence. And
because of Weezer.
Yeah.
Hey,
it had
good for Toto.
I think it had more plays last year than it. Let's see, just under 18 million plays, just in the UK. So 18
million plays in the UK.
Yeah.
In a year for a song that came out when?
2017, though. That was even before last year. 1982.
Oh my gosh.
18.
Unbelievable.
So a Nambian. Sounds like
it's a country.
Sounds like a pill too. And,
Take an Ambien and
Nambian
Nambia.
German. Anyway, Max Seidenbentopf. He's installing six speakers and an MP3 player in the Namib. Yeah,
in the Namib,
struggling with
the
words
desert
today.
in Nambia.
Yeah, there we go. And he's attaching solar panels to it. So 6 speakers, an MP3 player, and solar panels. And it is going to play this song on repeat for eternity.
Oh my gosh, that's fantastic.
So, I don't know.
Tell me Elon Musk was not involved.
This has Elon written all over it.
Just in the middle of the freaking desert.
I guess is this it right here?
They look like nice speakers. Yeah, that's them.
So, okay, but this is in the middle of sand dunes. This is going to be covered in like 6
2 days.
months.
No,
Yeah.
Dude, sand dunes move so fast.
Yeah, they like the...
He needs to put it in a bubble.
The Star Wars sets, for the original Star Wars sets, I think they're
covered now.
Last year got covered. I have these speakers. They're literally right there.
Hey. Yeah, they need to put it in an inflatable bubble so it just floats around the desert.
I was hoping for a little bit stronger looking of an installation. This looks like someone could just,
Oh yeah, okay.
blow
wait
it
a
over.
second. Yeah, I thought the towers were speakers. Those towers are just holding the speakers.
When I read the story, I was thinking like a Muslim prayer speaker.
Yeah,
you know,
like
it's a really super tall one with
Yeah.
like a little shack and
like some 20s. Yeah.
But that's not going to last long. You know what? I think.
Well, it'll get them more plays.
I think that we need to. We need to build a better one. That needs to be our objective.
But we'll put a rejected takeoff
Yeah,
song on it.
yeah.
How about we put it on the airport tarmac on loop?
Well, if the government doesn't get opened, it's going to be like a desert pretty soon.
It's true. Yeah, runways are being...
Okay, this next story is for you.
Ooh, all right.
So your ring.
Oh, the ring fiasco. I still haven't got it resized. It's starting to fill in, though. You see, not as much of a much of a fat gap.
Yeah, you remember how you had that fat gap and everything?
Yeah.
And
we just coined that, by the way. Fat gap.
So, had you ever considered putting your wedding ring on your penis?
No.
Because a 28-year-old South African man
oh my gosh.
endured a rare case of penile strangulation. Did you know that was a word?
No, I didn't. I mean, I know what it means now.
I mean, I strangulate my... Anyway. So he put his wedding ring around his penile.
his dong.
Apparently, he was trying to use it as a rooster ring.
Very good. Very good. Kids, if you don't know, then that's good.
Yeah. And he got so aroused that it got stuck. And and by the time he got to the hospital, it turned blue.
I don't think my ring would... I mean, I'm not trying to be... I'm not trying to be dicky here. Cocky. Penisy. I'm just saying, like... I don't...
Mine wouldn't either.
I mean, are you familiar with grower versus shower?
Yeah, even so.
No, yeah.
So, I guess what I take away is he had a very narrow, slender penis.
Right, like a roll of pennies.
I'm definitely gonna have to use that as a drop. Slender penis.
Slender.
That's
a nice way of putting it.
My new wrestling
He's
name.
a very
now making his way to the ring. Slender penis.
He's a very lean penis.
Lean. So they tried removing it with a tiny surgical saw.
Oh, no.
But it wasn't working, so they had to make multiple puncture aspirations with a syringe and a pink needle to reduce swelling.
So they drew the blood out?
Yeah, they de-erecticized him. Talk about the worst way to lose a boner.
That would hurt. I'll have to ask Ethan, Dr. Bayham,
what it's like to...
He's a doctor, and I did ask him about what's it called? When you have an erection for longer
erectile
than 4 hours.
dysfunction. You're asking for a friend.
No, like when you have an erection for longer than 4 hours.
Right.
What's it called? Anyway, it doesn't matter what it's called.
Viagra?
No.
Like the commercial?
No, there's the disorder. It has a name.
Oh,
but
long time boner or something.
Yeah, long LTB. I heard somewhere that they get rid of that by doing that to you.
Oh, yeah.
By poking you.
Probably. Or just show you pictures of, like...
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, Ethan, when you listen to this, feel free to join the conversation at the Artake Pod on Facebook. Let us know how they fix that now.
Yeah, we'd love to see step-by-step procedures and to know if you've ever done that before. One last story here. If you happen to go grocery shopping in... the D.C., the Washington... Oh, no, sorry. This is Massachusetts. I can't...
Priapism. That's what it's called. Prolonged erection priapism.
There you go.
Yeah.
There is a grocery store there called Giant, and they are employing a robot.
Okay.
This is him right here.
It's not a guy in a suit like the Russians?
No, not this one.
He has, like, googly eyes.
Oh, my gosh. Look. Okay, I know we just had a whole story about penises, but look how phallic this actually
it's pretty
looks.
Phallic, definitely made by a man.
I mean, anyway, yeah, they put googly eyes on it to,
maybe to make it look less phallic.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it kind of makes it... Well, anyway.
You ever put never mind.
So this robot goes around the store, and it looks for spills, and will notify an employee if there's a spill. Why they didn't make one that just cleans up the spill?
Yeah, that's
just like vacuums
like
it up or something.
Waste. Like that's the last thing I thought you were going to tell me.
That's not all it does.
Okay,
it goes up and down the aisles and it checks for out of stocks.
All right, that's good.
Reorders and stuff like that. I guess
that's good.
So, in the future, you'll look forward to phallic-y looking robots.
Maybe we'll run into less piles of collapsed boxes from stalkers now.
Yeah,
in the middle of the night. If you go shopping late at night, you run into a giant pile, or their carts taking up the whole aisle.
No, I used to be one of those guys.
It sucks.
And
more power to him, but this guy's going to take your job.
Well, he's not stocking shelves yet.
He's going to do it so efficiently, though.
Probably.
You're not going to have to bring out the whatever it's called.
Probably. I'm surprised Kroger hasn't jumped in on this yet. They're always doing new
pallet. You won't need pallet jack. You'll just bring out a box.
I hope so. Oh my gosh. So, back when I lived in Colorado, so I worked for Kroger and Smith's for
far too long.
12 years, I think.
Really?
Well,
wow.
Part of it was in Texas at Kroger, and then the rest
That's
here.
a long time.
Yeah. And when I was dating my ex-wife, I moved to Colorado for a little bit and worked at another Kroger division called King Soopers. And prior to that, I had only worked on the front end as a front end manager or cashier or whatever.
Yeah.
So nothing labor intensive. But they brought me on as a grocery clerk. Grocery clerk.
Is that someone who stocks and faces?
A dairy clerk. Yeah, it sucked. I was not built to work hard.
And in the cold, like in the freezer.
Yeah, it sucked.
When you're stocking the yogurt,
yeah,
do you have to face them?
Yeah.
So someone takes one,
yeah,
it comes down the right way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about?
No,
in the little sliding.
You
ones?
don't have to. Just the first one.
Okay.
You don't have to do.
So if you see it off, you open the door real quick. Turn it.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But you kind of do anyway. Yeah, you kind of do face them. It just depends on what, because some people have the put it in from behind. Some put it in the front. Anyway, so you got to rotate stock. But anyway, they asked me to unload a truck, which I had never done before.
Yeah.
And they had an electric pallet jack, and I was not good at a regular pallet jack. You know how bad Asian drivers are?
That's how you are with a pallet jack?
Yeah. And I'm not, that's not a generalization. I almost said a North Korean roommate. I had a South Korean roommate, and I'm not exaggerating when I say I thought I was going to die. Like, I was so fearful for my life when I was in the car with him.
That mostly inaccurate stereotype happened to be true for you.
Yeah, well, I guess.
So pallet jack.
And so I had to unload this truck.
When you say electric, did it electric up and move, or just electric?
Yeah, no, the
up?
whole thing.
Okay.
And so I couldn't use it. Like, I couldn't figure. I didn't know how to use it.
Yeah.
So I had to unload a dairy truck. So these are pallets with stacked to the top with milk crates.
Right.
I can't even tell you how many are on there. And I did it with a hand pallet jack, and I thought I was going to die.
Because you didn't want to use the electric
I didn't know how. I was going to spill the milk.
Isn't there like 3 knobs? Like, this goes up, this goes down?
It's hard to have you ever...
Yes, I have.
It's hard.
It's hard.
I mean, I'm a pro now, but...
Right.
I did tip 2 pallets, not that night, but in my time there, I tipped 2 pallets of milk.
Did they all break?
Almost, yeah. And I tipped a 6-wheeler, a big cart thingy, full of eggs.
Oh.
And I put most of them on the shelf anyway.
Thing.
I did it in front of a bunch of customers, and so I put them back all in the thing, and I rolled them back, and I waited like 30 minutes.
Waited for them all to be gone.
Put them all back out.
Why did they put eggs in like the most the weakest packaging?
I don't know.
Like molded pulp is what it is. Yeah. You know?
I don't know.
Anyway,
I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, that is your random headline.
Awesome. Those are good ones.
Yeah. Toto, Africa installation.
Toto. I don't know why everybody's hating on Weezer. You know, they're just doing their job.
They should be hating on Toto for writing such a ridiculous song. Have you ever heard the lyrics?
Yeah, yeah.
It's like it doesn't make any sense.
There is a YouTube video that has every lyric to Africa, like auto-tuned to fit the song, but in alphabetical order. So it like starts with Africa.
That's funny.
I don't know why it's just become a thing.
Oh, that's funny.
Viral.
All right. So, Mexico. We've been in the news lately.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. So, have you ever heard of Aeromexico?
No, I'd assume it's an airline.
It is.
Okay.
It's their big airline there. They have released
Mexico.
Mexico. Yeah, sorry, my apologies.
And it might even be Mexico Aero. They tend to reverse things.
Which is why I struggle with Spanish, but you're right. They have a new campaign, a new advertising campaign.
Okay.
They've released several commercials, and I can't play all of them because they're 11 minutes worth.
Oh my gosh!
But I'm gonna play.
Watch?
I'm gonna play some of one. Yeah,
okay.
you should
definitely
watch.
We'll post it. We'll try to anyway.
Mexico's first destination is America, but America's first destination is not Mexico. So we went to a typical American town to ask why they don't consider Mexico an option to travel to.
Banjo.
Would you consider going to Mexico?
No way.
The idea of going to Mexico is not something that I would foresee.
That's not my cup of tea.
Let me stay here in peace
and let those folks stay on their side of the border.
Do you like tequila?
Yes.
Do you like burritos?
Yeah.
Do you like Mexico?
No.
And when your company name is Aeromexico, well, so how do we increase USA flights to Mexico if a big part of Americans just don't like Mexico? According to the Department of Homeland Security, Mexican immigration goes as far as the 1800s settling in on the South, meaning that a big percentage of Mexican ascendants in the USA doesn't even know it yet. So we did a DNA test to prove it and turn those results into discounts. The more Mexican they are, the more discount they get.
Joshua, you are 18% Mexican.
Oh, wow.
So you get 18% off to fly to Mexico. Charlotte, you are 14.4% Mexican. You're 22% Mexican.
That's bullshit. That's bullshit.
You are 18% Mexican.
Well, that's better than you.
So you get 22% off to fly to Mexico.
Oh, come on now. Seriously? Okay. That's for real. So what if I want to take my wife?
Eligible for a 15% discount to go to Mexico. What do you think about that?
I love discounts.
Sorry, Betsy. You're only 3% Mexican.
Keep getting discounts all over Southern America in our travel agencies.
Southern?
Inner discounts. There are no borders within us.
That isn't...
Yeah, I go to Mexico if they had Taco Bells on the street corners down there.
So there's several of these.
Brilliant marketing campaign.
I know, it's pretty freaking funny.
I think I've seen.
That the best one is that guy who actually gets super pissed off.
That's bullshit. Yeah.
And then when they tell him he gets a discount, he's like, "What?
What if I want to take my wife?
What if I want to take my wife?
Do I get 22% for her too?"
Oh man,
you're missing the point. What we're trying to tell you is that you are a racist.
Yeah, well, yeah, and they did pick up these people are definitely
cream of the crop.
Yeah, they're Heartland. Well, they're I don't know.
Yeah, they're people who would probably join the Minutemen.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. They're America. So yeah, we'll post this link to this YouTube video. It has a bunch of different ones on here.
I love it.
But basically, the advertising campaign is take a DNA test. We'll tell you how much Mexican you are and or how much Mexican DNA you have, and we'll give you that percentage of a discount.
They're absolutely right. Like Texas was Mexico.
Right.
So it stands to reason that
Not
a lot
just
of people,
Texas, California,
well, all of it. Yeah, like it stands to reason that a lot of people would be descendants.
Right.
You know, sorry.
Yeah.
It's a melting pot.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
It's,
yeah.
You have the last name of like Luna or something. Like, what?
Yeah.
I'm not Mexican. That's crazy. Like,
what's your last name? Trujillo? That's pronounced Trujillo. Oh, shit. Trujillo.
Oh, yeah. I thought you'd get a kick out of that there. So when you get a chance, go through them. And
I kind of want to book a flight with them now. Just see that it worked.
Yeah. Yeah, they're a pretty big airline, although they did just have a crash a few months ago.
Oh, well, you ruined it.
No one died, though. They actually did okay.
Yeah. You want to talk about Utah smoking?
Yeah, I saw this. I thought about bringing this on, but I wasn't sure about one of these numbers. So, yeah, let's talk about it.
So, there was an article locally here in Utah that Utah smokers burn through $38,000 a year. That's combined with all their health costs, costs of the cigarettes, lighters, matches, everything that revolves around smoking.
Right.
Let's see.
So it has a little breakdown here. So it says that Utah, and this is per person, spend $38,542 a year on smoking. And all these numbers make sense to me. So out of pocket is $2,500. That's just cigarettes.
Sure.
Okay. Cigarettes are expensive. Back when I was a cashier when I was 16, it was like $18 for a carton. Now it's like $60 or $70.
Yeah, they've taxed it so heavily to try and de-incentivize people from buying.
Right. And I'm not complaining because whatever, but
No, they
I'm
should.
just saying that's the reality of it. So it is expensive. It says healthcare is $29.24. Income, that's lost income, I guess, from health-related issues.
Or they can't get a better job
right.
because of the habit.
That actually... because you can't ask that in an intervieu, but if you happen to find out, it's statistically proven that you're less likely to get hired.
For sure,
if you're a smoker.
Yeah.
Other is 317. Now the financial opportunity number.
Wait a second. I gotta go back.
Okay.
Why is that? Why is that against the law to ask? I think it's a perfectly legitimate question. Do you have a disgusting habit that we might need to know about?
I agree. I don't know.
It's not protected. It's not like you're pregnant.
I don't know.
Or your age. Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe it's just a dick move. I don't know. Actually, I'm trying to think.
Everything on your application looks good. You smoke?
I feel like I've been told that you can't ask that, but I don't know if I've ever actually looked in to see if that's the reality. I would imagine that it's not good practice to ask that, but
I mean, I don't know. I think I would. I don't know if I would care. Depends on what I was hiring for. Anyway,
I don't want to alienate anybody, but never mind.
I think anybody who smokes knows that it's hard. We understand it's hard to quit. My brother smokes. It's really, really hard to quit.
Yeah, I know.
You know,
I'm not. Yeah,
it's easier to kick like heroin than nicotine.
Yeah,
so we get it. You know.
Anyway,
but there's a couple of numbers in here that gave us some trouble.
So the one that maybe you can explain this to me, as I don't understand this 27,575 financial opportunity. That's the biggest number out of all this, and that's where I'm just kind of confused what they're talking about here.
Where is it in the article? I'm trying. Oh, there it is. Financial opportunity. I think that's what we're talking about. Like
just lost wages, lost opportunities.
What they've probably done a sample. Mm-hmm. You take a sample of 200 people.
Right.
100 of them smoke, 100 of them don't. Account for variables like age and socioeconomic status, just simple statistics, and you can narrow down to the smoking variable if your sample size is large enough. And then you could say, okay, people who don't smoke, all other variables aside, are making $27,000 more than people who do smoke. We've controlled for every other variable: male, female, age, socioeconomic status, type of work, you know what I mean? What your qualifications are. It's really easy to control for those variables if you know stats and if you have a big enough sample size.
Right.
And they're saying that you're losing $27,000. You could be making $27,000 more if you weren't smoking.
Wow. That's crazy because I don't smoke and I don't make $27,000 more. So I'm a little
right. Someone like you would be making, I guess, no money. Yeah,
better not pick it up then. Be screwed.
So that's the one that got you. Here's the one that bugged me.
Okay.
Because in a given day, watching TV, listening to the radio, driving on the freeway, how many ads for The Truth?
Do you see? We get a lot here. I don't know if that's necessarily
this
the
is
case
relevant
everywhere.
to Utah, though.
Yeah,
like The Truth is an anti. It's a. I can't say anti. It is anti-smoking, but it's more of a help,
right?
You know, or Way to Quit is now the new one. WayToQuit.org.
Oh yeah.
You know, so the one that got me is it says a recent behavioral health survey results show that 70% of Utahns who smoke would like to quit, but don't know where or how to get help. How is that possible? Like, I just listed off 2 places, WayToQuit.org and The Truth, that both offer help. If you TV, what's it called? Chantix?
Yeah, what's his name?
Like Chantix helps people quit. That one is neuroscience. So I love learning about Chantix.
I'm trying to counter argument here, but I can't.
70%.
I can't think of anything.
I could understand like 30.
Yeah.
You know, 30% of the people who want to quit don't know where to get help. Maybe they just don't see the ads or just don't hear them. 70% of people who want to quit don't know where to go. You don't know. You could just ask your doctor, like, hey, how do I quit? Well, you can try this, this, and this. You know, we have this drug, Chantix, that does it. We have...
I had a friend who did...
patches, gum.
Who did Chantix and quit really pretty successfully, pretty quickly.
Yeah, so the way Chantix works is it blocks the nicotine receptors in your brain so that the nicotine can't get in there. So you feel no effect from smoking.
Oh.
So it sucks, right? It's the first little bit sucks because you're withdrawing.
Mm-hmm.
But the smoking doesn't help. As long as you take Chantix, smoking does not help it because that neuron is literally blocked. You cannot get nicotine into it because it has a chemical, basically a neurotransmitter that's blocking it.
Fascinating.
It is really fascinating.
That's pretty crazy.
There is a little bit of a scare with Chantix. It can cause severe depression, the way it works in the brain. Pretty rare.
Right.
But there have been some suicides noted.
Are you sure they're not just bummed out because they can't smoke anymore?
It's possible. I mean, I would imagine that it would suck. You'd be on edge. You'd probably be really, really on edge.
Yeah,
So,
anytime my brother-in-law has tried to quit, he gets pretty grouchy.
it's really hard.
Yeah.
I totally understand.
Yeah?
I've never smoked, but I know people who do it. I understand how hard it can be. But man, ask your doctor, go to waytoquit.org, call the truth, get Chantix, get a patch, get gum, vape. Just vape.
Yeah.
Is better than smoking.
Yeah.
You know how much tar is coming from a cigarette?
I just can't think of a counter argument. I can't.
I mean, I've never researched this. It's just from advertisements I see on billboards, on TV, on radio, on podcasts. Like, it's everywhere.
There's a lot here, especially. I don't.
Yeah. Elaine from Neon Trees.
Uh-huh.
I met her years ago when I was working for the radio station.
Right.
And she worked for The Truth.
Oh, really?
That's how, I would talk to her because she would come to events where I was.
Huh.
So, like, I don't know, maybe because of that, I don't know. But I just feel like everybody knows. How do you not know about, like, The Truth? I
don't know. I'd like to, I don't know, that survey is, I don't know, it's got to be skewed or something, or maybe that's just how the people responded in the survey because, I don't know.
They don't want to say.
Yeah, I guess. I don't.
So it's true because it does list after that. It says 21,000 people did visit the waytoquit.org.
Well,
which is it is state sponsored, but only 4,800 registered on the website. So what is that, like 1/5?
Yeah,
of the people who visited the website actually.
And there are 195,000 smokers in Utah.
Yeah,
about 9% of the population.
That's 1 out of 10. Like, I get that.
It's not too bad, I guess. We rank 34th in the nation. Wait, where did that statistic go? Smoking causes about 1,340 deaths in Utah per year.
Wow, that's so sad.
Average age that smokers die is 69.
What's the?
There it is.
What's the the mortality age or whatever it's called normally?
Oh.
Isn't it like 75?
Yeah.
If you put the two genders together?
Yeah. Utah ranks number 34 in the nation in terms of cost of smoking. And only about 7 to 8% of smokers are successful at quitting.
That explains how hard it is to quit. 7 to 8%. That's rough. So we feel you. If you're listening and you smoke, we understand.
I was talking to my brother-in-law about, because he's quit before.
Yeah.
He had been off of them for either a year or 2 years.
Yeah.
And just a friend was smoking outside, and he's like, "You want one?" And he's like, and then back on it again.
It's all downhill. Yeah.
And it's I don't want to draw this comparison too closely, but for me in eating,
sure,
like the only difference, I have to eat to live. You don't have to smoke to live.
Sure.
But I understand to a point, like the frustration and the cravings and how, like, sometimes I just feel like I'm like, it's just frustrating. Like, am I going to have to deal with this forever?
Yeah.
Like, am I always going to have to be fighting myself not to overeat?
Right.
And that's kind of where the discouragement comes in. So if that's, if you're in the process of quitting and you're like, am I always going to be like this? Am I always going to have these urges? Then that can be really defeating.
Right. Absolutely. No, I get it. And, yeah, I understand. I understand it's hard, and maybe we're fighting this the wrong way. And when I say we, like society, maybe we're putting money in the wrong places.
Maybe.
I don't know. Maybe we give away free Chantix. As soon as the patent's off, it'll be cheap.
I mean, the number of smokers is going down.
Right.
I think eventually...
Well, people have gone to vaping a ton.
Which is not great, but...
It's not great, but it's less tar, less cancer. People switching from smoking to vaping is one thing, but vaping itself has become more of an oh my gosh. Like an epidemic.
Yeah. I was going to say epidemic. Like that's what?
Well, it's people who wouldn't
epidemic.
People who wouldn't normally have smoked are now vaping.
Right. And it's happening in schools a lot. In so much that the FDA said that if these vaping companies don't start coming up with programs to discourage teen vaping, that they are going to ban all of them,
sanction them and stuff.
Yeah, that they were going to pull them all off the shelves. That has since been
so easy to get, man.
But yeah,
they're in every gas station right there.
Yeah, and there's whole vape shops dedicated to
vape shops. So. Yeah, they usually get busted for weed. At some point. Vape some weed.
Well, since we're talking about addictions or whatever, I'll give you my Spencer's weekly weight update real quick. Weighed myself Wednesday this week, and I was at 274.
3 down.
Yeah.
3 down. Yep.
Yeah.
Nice.
Although I think that I'm probably lower than that because I took a real... You know what? Just... I think I'm lower than that.
By about a pound and a half.
Yeah.
Well, good, man.
I've been eating really well this week for the most part. Kind of struggled on Wednesday, but for most of the week, I've been eating probably under 1,500 calories a day.
Wow, that's hard.
Maybe 17, somewhere around there. And
that's tough. If any man out there has ever consistently ate 1,500,
it's not great.
You feel weak and hungry all the time. I've gone through that.
Yeah. But I haven't started exercising yet. So if I were to have exercise this week, I probably actually would be in the 60s.
Yeah.
Knowing myself, like how quickly I can lose weight when I'm this heavy.
Right.
But yeah. Anyway,
there's congratulations.
My weekly weight update. I need to get some fun, catchy music here. Spencer's weekly weight update.
Yeah. Remember 1-800-97-Jenny. And they would change the number every year. Anyway, sorry, I don't.
That's okay.
You could play that if you want.
That's a good idea. See if I can find it.
I did see a commercial for Nutrisystems for Men the other day.
I thought about doing those before. I actually think I'd probably do really well on them.
Yeah, it's planned.
Yeah,
that's because that's the problem.
Yeah,
if your meals aren't planned, you're going to go to Mod Pizza.
Well, I kind of did. Well, I. Because with the Nutrisystem, it's just frozen meals. It's not like it's so. I kind of just did that last year. I just would go and buy
a stack
of frozen Lean Cuisines and Power Bars and stuff, and it's basically the same thing. So
it's true. If you have it on hand, that's always been my problem.
That's the lesson I learned this week. I bought a variety pack of chips on Wednesday, and they're just little 130 calorie packages,
right?
And I probably ate most of them. All that's left in there now are pretzels.
Well, 130 calories of chips, 4 chips.
Yeah, I know.
You got to get baked.
That's what that is.
Oh, they're baked.
They're baked ones.
All right.
So
that's true.
I blew through the Cheetos pretty quick because they're delicious. So
yeah.
I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, I'll bring you a big tub of cheese balls. All right. Is that it?
I guess that's it then.
All right. Well, find us at the Artake Pod on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Please share this episode. Share the podcast with your friends, your family. Tell them about it. Get in touch with us. We'll send you a t-shirt or something for episode 30. I'm Brian.
I am 33. See you next time.
Words you took out of my mouth when I saw you